This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 18th of September 2019, and I am 2J.
I am 2.
And I am GK, and in case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Standard, Uhuru, Ruto, officers and spending spree.
Yes.
In the Star, Kirubi, my fight with cancer.
Yeah.
In the Daily Nation, teachers failed the test on grade 3 assessment. Very interesting. Should we start with the Standard?
Yes.
Who is spending all the money?
Apparently Uhuru and Ruto.
You know, this is media in this country is their choice architects. They want you to feel bad because they have malicious headlines.
Yeah.
Now, this guy knows the president is going to go for UNGA, United Nations General Assembly in New York. And now they're setting the tone that if he's seen taking up his plane, they'll call him a tourist. Look, Kenya is not a banana republic. We are not in the age where the president sits all of us down like Africans and tells us, say a story, and then we will go and sleep.
However, if the government is preaching austerity all round, shouldn't they be also adhering to the same terms?
Absolutely not.
Definitely.
There's a reason why Uhuru Kenyatta has an economic plan. We have to be first world. Getting first world means you transit from 2.5 million passengers a year to 5 million. It means that you transit from being a $100 billion GDP to a $300 billion GDP.
So I think what you're saying here is that this story is lacking context.
What I'm saying.
So if we're going to say, let me say what you're saying, then you can say what you're saying. If we're saying that the president flew to Singapore, it's like he flew to Singapore and he came back with this deal. He flew to Malaysia, he did this for the country. He went to Australia and he did this. The outputs that are coming out of these travels, they're not in vain.
Good point, but this is also what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this, that he needs to do the extraordinary to get us to be extraordinary.
Exactly.
You cannot just remain at home and remote control investment, tourism. You have to go and get it yourself.
And so we call upon the Standard that if they're going to have a negative headline like this, they need to back it up with some facts.
Absolutely.
Although they do shed some light. And we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines. We ask ourselves if it is topical or speculative, whether it is repetitive or groundbreaking, and whether it is thoughtful or
just plain lazy.
I think it shed some light, no?
But I think for me the timing is just too opportune. As the president is heading to New York, they do a
think
headline
it's
like this. Yeah, it's too negative.
This is very lazy. You're putting the president in the same terms as parliament.
Should we toss it?
Parliamentary Service Commission.
Yes.
It's very lazy.
We have heard you loud and clear. In the Star, Kirubi, my fight with cancer.
Whoa. Yeah, yesterday I saw him do a video. Speaking about the time he discovered he had cancer. And his advice to Kenyans was, please go get screened yourself. Get some screening, because if it's in stage 1, stage 2, it can be managed.
So early testing is important. I like that they put this on the front cover. I think it's a good human interest piece. There's lots of people who've been dying from cancer, not just the famous and
absolutely.
Especially because we give the Star so much flack for their human interest pieces. I think this is one that is really paying off.
Makes sense.
But also more than ever, I don't think the focus on cancer should actually just be on the Ministry of Health. I think we should also focus this on Ministry of Agriculture. There has to be something that explains the high number of cancer cases.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going for a second.
Where are we doing now?
First, can we at least applaud the government for universal healthcare?
And that NHIF card.
Your NHIF card to at least access some of these.
Absolutely.
And I think with what his plea was, I think that as Kenyans we need to address this fear we have of early diagnosis. We shouldn't be afraid of going to the hospital every once in a while. Just get a general check.
I'm really intrigued to hear what he wanted to say about the Ministry of Agriculture.
You see, what I think is this. The food that is being grown in this country they are using fertilizers that have some chemicals that end up on the dining table. Now, in my view, that is the increase in cancer. I don't think it's because they're GMO. Because I was watching something the other day, an American World War II legend, veteran, guy, every morning he sips some whiskey. Wow. In the evening, he smokes a cigar while eating steak, And
How
this guy
old is he?
about 106 years old.
Wow, fantastic.
And he drives a pickup, and it's manual. Now,
what are you saying?
There's a reason.
He's lived that long.
He has stuck to his methods.
And they actually say Warren Buffett he has a Coke,
McDonald's,
all those.
Absolutely. I think Africans are being lied to by these fertilizer companies. It's probably time when these things things land at our ports, we are able to have a criteria.
Or maybe we go back to, basics.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Daniel diet.
Yes.
More vegetables, more water, less wine, less meat.
I think there's a fantastic headline. Can I suggest we put it in the parking bay?
Yeah. Thank you, Chris Kirubi.
Finally.
In the Daily Nation. Now, this story has been giving 2J anxiety last week, this week, and now the teachers are the ones failing.
I don't know what's happening anymore. It's topsy-turvy.
She's confused.
But it's because you thought teachers went to take a standard 3 test.
No, I said that it was unfair for people who are 9 years old to be taking a national exam, right?
I hear you.
And so the whole time we didn't know where the story was
But then
going.
Mago had told us it's not an actual test. They are in their own time carry out this assessment.
Absolutely.
And now we are blaming the teachers. So the standard 3 students, they took the exam.
Yeah.
And now the teachers have failed because apparently the exam didn't go as it was supposed to, or there were some hitches.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, I want to question the Daily Nation's intention with this headline. Why are we blaming the teachers?
You think there's foul play somewhere?
I think there's foul play.
You think they want the government to return or to reverse CBC?
I don't know. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I think there's something weird going on in the Ministry of Education right now.
Yeah.
And I think that Magoha, the way Matiang'i was a shining star, I think they're looking at him like a target.
The truth.
Is this a paid-for headline?
I think it might be.
The truth is this thing will not be smooth running. Every time a new system is introduced, it will be teething problems.
Yeah. I think that we toss this headline.
Yes.
This has confused me now.
So we have a winning headline from the start. Yeah. So lifting our veil of ignorance and getting us to be aware of cancer. Yes,
absolutely.
On to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. We also have a 3-part criteria that we use.
Yeah.
We ask ourselves whether it is humorous or dry, whether it is satirical or pessimistic, and whether it is effective or just plain lazy. Now I feel like, okay, describe it.
Yes. I think
this is in the standard?
Yes, new entrant. I think it's called Kaso.
So this Gado?
Kaso.
Maybe it's a criteria for the standard.
Your cartoonist name has to end with a no. Okay. Anyway, it's a drawing of a class. Primary school class. And there's a teacher there teaching the alphabet. And they're telling the kids to say A4, and then there's a blip. B4, blip.
Expletives,
Expletives. But I think the context of this is that young boy from...
But there's a little mouse here that says, spare the rod.
Yes, but that I don't agree with. Africans should stop this thing of thinking that the only way to get discipline in a child is to beat them. We are beyond... If you did it in your 50s, stay in your 50s.
So you think it's only an African thing? I'm pretty sure they do that in Asia, in South America.
Yeah, they're just doing that in emerging markets.
I will leave people's parenting choices to them.
I still think, again, with the Nation headline, there is some narrative of blaming teachers going on. I don't understand how the words or the way that child was speaking has now been attributed to his teachers in school.
Yes.
I think it has to be...
This is with regard to the Consolata video that went...
It has to do something with his parents. I think we toss it for being irrelevant.
Yes.
But also welcome, Kamzo.
Yes.
Or whatever it is.
Yes. A caricature of Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko and his blings. And he's a selfie stick and he's always on Facebook. That's not me, that's Ndula. Next to him is the governor of Kiambu, the clown himself. And not in my words, it's Ndula because he's drawn him with that nose. He's Waitito. And the caption there...
And his signature yellow tie,
yellow tie because he belongs to Ruto.
Yeah.
And the caption there is setting the record straight. And Sonko was voted 3rd best governor in Kenya, and Waitito was voted worst performing governor.
But however, they've crossed out
their roles.
Yes, so it's best recording artist, worst performing clown.
Yeah.
You see, and this group that did this survey, they're called All African
Advisors. Yeah, they're a UK-based advisory firm.
Yeah, whose office is like a kiosk next to Kenchik. We've actually checked them out.
Yeah, we checked their offices. It doesn't look to be real.
It's actually a briefcase company.
However, the context here is that they were...
But let me be the voice of reason.
Okay, wait, before we go, let's give the context, right? They were prompted to carry out a survey 6 years after devolution started to see if the projects that were undertaken have actually happened. So they had a 3-pronged strategy. The first one was a self-assessment survey for each county. The second was an opinion poll, and then the third was a county development verification exercise. So I think this is where the problem starts for the two of us, you can say after. 10 people were interviewed per village.
10 people.
10 people.
Per village.
Per village.
That's a sample size.
Which produced a sample size of 1,400 people to determine these facts.
That's what InfoTrack uses all the time.
InfoTrash?
Guys, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Muzungus are coming here to tell us how our counties are being run. Second, can you imagine us as Kenyans going to tell the Brussels mayor and the London mayor and the Paris mayor, you should be running your county like this, not like this.
They could never.
But listen, we've been doing a week of propaganda, isn't it?
Yes.
How media is used to propagate certain narratives.
Yes. Yeah.
However, at some point, propaganda stops being true.
Yes.
If you were to tell me that Waititu is the worst performing clown in Kiambu, I am inclined to believe proof is in the pudding there.
Let me tell you, if that was to come from a Dandora-based pollster, I would believe it.
And this is why I like this cartoon, guys. Dula, maybe he didn't know or has connected it, but they were doing the revenue share.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kiambu is set to receive the 7th largest amount of the counties of the revenue.
Okay.
Yet they are the worst performing.
Yeah.
That's
so
very
for
true.
me, it's food for thought. It is kind of like putting things into...
You know what? I like this angle.
Okay, listen, maybe you like this. Maybe as Africans, and here at the 5th Estate, we should begin a center for Caucasian studies.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Where we go and study their brains and how they run their things.
And we give them advisories.
From Neanderthal to...
From Neanderthal to?
We don't know. We'll find out.
To captains of industry.
So are we keeping it?
I say let's put it in the parking bay as we look at the star.
Okay, what's in the star?
Okay, so a remote. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Himself, the best teacher in the world.
Oh yes, best teacher in the world, yeah.
Yes, but then he's a Jesuit priest, and he's standing next to a favorite, Donald Trump, who's in a KKK Ku
Klux Klan gown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yesterday they were together at the White House Oval Office.
Yeah.
He was standing next to Trump. I don't know why they needed to do that.
I don't know why Ozone took such a negative perspective on this, because in my mind, Tabitu is showing us like with a clear purpose from God.
Imagine.
It can open doors and take you to places
anywhere
you could never have believed.
Yes.
Why they had to spin it, make it
negative. Yeah. I think it's in serious bad taste. Because if you think about it, so Tabitu is actually in the States because he's going to be addressing Unga.
Wow.
So imagine.
Wow. Okay.
He also opened something in the UK. So this guy is doing great things.
He should have focused
and you
on the
juxtapose it against this racist orange.
Yeah.
It's so unfair.
No, but you know, there's something about
Those are the
Trump.
views of TJ and not necessarily.
There's something about Trump. You either like him or you hate him. I personally like him. And I'm sure the Democratic feel and Obama's kind of thinking would be in Ozone's head. And the Kenyans.
Stay tuned to our final thought.
Yes, that's very true. Okay, so between the two, I think we're going to toss the star for bad taste.
Why are you tossing the star? For what?
For bad? Okay, well, decide quickly.
Okay, the star wins.
He's not prospering today. And we have a winning cartoon from Dula of the Daily Nation. And what is our final thought?
And now our final thought, inspired by a book entitled Media Madness, Donald Trump, the Press, and the War Over the Truth, by a man called Howard Katz. Is it Kutz or Katz? These people have such funny names.
All right. So before we actually get into that book, I wanted us to take a step back and look into history and look at Barack Obama, because I think that they give a very good reflection on the two of them.
Yeah.
So the first book we're going to look at is called The Case Against Barack Obama, The Unlikely Rise and Unexamined Agenda of the Media's Favorite Candidate, by David Fredoso. You're right, these guys are weird names.
Yes, Fredoso.
Written in 2008.
Yes.
So in this first book on Barack Obama, Fredoso provides a critical examination of the life and opinions of the then US President Barack Hussein Obama.
Right.
So in this book, he suggests that at the time, just before the election, 2007, 2008, Obama was the least experienced politician.
Yes.
But somehow he escaped appropriate examination that other presidents would deserve and should endure. And so as a politician who promised the world, this is what he says, with his slogans of change and hope, a critical eye should have been placed on him, but it rarely was. And so we ask the question, why? And I think that we can look at two things that point to that. So the first thing is favorable media coverage. So the press was covering him absolutely everywhere. And this translated to higher visibility. So for example, 54% of the public said that they had heard the most about Obama, compared to 27% who heard about Hillary, and only 5% who heard about McCain. So there was huge media coverage about this fairly unknown person.
He was a wonder kid.
He was a wonder kid.
Then
second, you have this media infatuation. So they have these quotes. They're very interesting. They call him Obama the rock star. He's so charismatic. He's the perfect American. And he's a huge visionary. And so for some reason, he tapped into something that the American public was feeling. You know, they felt that, they were deficient in.
Yeah, and they were craving for it.
They were craving something. They were craving hope and something better.
Absolutely.
Plus, he was unknown. He was fresh. He had a clean background.
And he was Kenyan.
And he was black.
That's exactly. Bill Clinton. No, I'm saying it. Bill Clinton actually said the media liked him because he was African American. It's very interesting.
And people also liked Bill Clinton because he's perceived as the black.
And he plays the saxophone. He's very interesting.
And also he had big ears like mine.
Okay, that's your own interpretation. We'll move on. So when you look at the tone of coverage between Trump and Obama. When you look at the tone of coverage between Obama and Trump. So Obama had 59% positive coverage, only 41% negative coverage, compared to Trump, who had 80% negative coverage and 20% positive coverage. And so when you look at the first 24 hours of Obama's presidency, the combined global radio and TV coverage added up to more than 2 million minutes.
Wow.
In just one day.
That's going to work in your favor.
It is. At the peak of the media, the media was reporting 33 times per second about Obama.
Wow.
In the first 2 days, print coverage, newspapers around the world developed more than 1 million articles about the new president. They call it the biggest media output about a president to date.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I think that's just a little bit of history about how the media perceived and helped Obama become this president, even though he was the unlikely candidate.
It truly worked in his favor.
Absolutely.
And so the second book we look at, which is an opposite, is This Media Madness, Donald Trump, the Press, and the War of the Truth. And according to media, Trump could never become president. In fact, even sitting in Kenya, we were all like,
Trump.
A guy with a reality show. You know, it was just not adding up.
However, Professor Muchahingunyi did say in 2015, a year before Trump was elected, he looked at this man and he said, this guy,
he can do it. So he proved us all wrong.
The oracle spoke.
And in this book, Kurtz, who actually works for Fox, which is aligned to
Trump.
But he also calls himself a media critic. So we're hoping this book will give that unbiased view. And so in this book, he shows how many of the media around the world are on a mission to show why Trump shouldn't be president, even after he was elected. And he shows how the Trump administration and the press are at war. And usually in a war, the first casualty is normally the truth. So he takes us through a series of things. And events just before Trump's election and during his presidency that have weird or conflicting what are sometimes called alternative facts.
We live in a post-truth world.
We're not sure what exactly is going on, right? And so we have the first entrance, which is how he messaged his campaign.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people think Make America Great Again came just like that. But there have been actually years of research by a lady called Kellyanne Conway, who I'm sure you will talk about.
And actually Make America Great Again came from Ronald Reagan.
And so actually Reagan and him were pitted as like, we're going to win back the Republican Party, we're going to make it what it was supposed to be. And so he's told, listen, focus on working class whites, right? And pivot the whole immigration messaging. And so Trump won the election by galvanizing working class whites in these Rust Belt states that were normally ignored. But they were democratic
states before.
And so what happened is during the Obama years, people forgot about these working class white people who aren't the specialized class. They're not the elites, but they're just, your everyday, hillbillies maybe? I don't know, maybe that's weird to say, but he really galvanized the message around them. So in the book, he says that the media has put Trump through this thing called Trump trauma. And it's the relentless ridicule by the press. So they call him a fascist. They call him the Ku Klux Klan. They call him Amzo or whoever he was today, has put him as the Ku Klux Klan.
Racist orange.
2J alone today on the Fifth Estate has called him a racist orange. So there's this whole thing that is, this imbalance that is working, not to his disadvantage, to his advantage. So what's happening is the media has abandoned being fair, and they've become activists. And many times we've seen that. In the run-up to the 2017 election in Kenya, we all felt that the media was not doing their job. They were sort of playing an activist role. However, he has dominated press coverage, good or bad. And I think there's a saying that says
there's no bad press, only good press, something along those lines.
So in the run-up to his election, he had nearly $2 billion worth of free media. That was 6 times more than the closest Republican rival. That means anything that was being said that was bad, he was actually capitalizing on it.
Yeah.
So as much as the author calls it Trump trauma, I think Trump found a way to
turn it around.
Right? Yeah. And then Trump was fortunate to come into a presidency at a time when there's a change in the media culture.
Yes.
So a lot of people aren't really watching news for, objectivity.
Absolutely.
They're watching it for opinion.
Yes.
So he was like, you know what, I'm going to now promote the brands that I think are pro-Trump. So that's why you always hear him say CNN, fake media. New York Times, fake media. But Fox and his friends, best of friends. And I'm sure you'll speak to that in a bit. So Trump, his advisors and his administration actually say that he suffers from a defiance disorder. So they carefully package this message for him about immigration, about all sorts of things.
The talking points.
And so he'll say them. Then he goes to his phone and he quickly does something on Twitter. And 40 million people just like that have some opinion that was not crafted. But for some reason, it's still galvanizing him. So you have a situation in America where his policies are not as well known as his tweets. And then in my head, I was like, gosh, I miss Uhuru Kenyatta on Twitter.
Mr. President, we miss you.
We want to hear what your opinion is.
Come back to Twitter.
Which could be different from State House, but it could also lend you some ground.
On
the ground.
Right?
And then they say that Trump has continued to be media's biggest critic. So you find that because the media itself has abandoned being objective, Trump is now the one who makes it his job
to force them to be objective.
And sets the tone, actually.
Exactly. And then the other thing that he points out is that the American media and the international media sees or tries to portray Trump as a threat to national security. Now, in two instances, I think he has actually done the right thing or restored national security. With Kim Jong-un of South Korea, people were like, he's going to tweet us into a war. Because he would, he would, and he would call his bluff and say, what are you going to do? And then in the end, he tweets something and says, you know what, it would be an honor to meet him. And Kim Jong-un, it appeals to his interest, and they meet, and it's
absolutely.
The other thing is with Russia. People think that every time Putin and Trump met, he was divulging state secrets. But there's a Lebanese saying that says you cannot bite the hand. You have to kiss the hand that you cannot yet bite. The idea there is if you cannot beat Putin, you might as well
kiss his hand.
Exactly. And so that's something that he's done well, but you'll never hear him get
and I think so much of this is based on the team of people that he has behind him.
Absolutely. But before I get there, I like this man, and I actually was when I was writing my notes.
Him too.
No, you've changed your tone.
After calling him an orange.
What those are alternative facts?
Fake news.
I wrote to myself and I said, Donald Trump is his own choice architect. The media does not control him; he controls the media. And this Katzman has a fantastic quote over here, and this is what he says. He says, what the media failed to realize is that Trump supporters love his street talk and view the media critics as nonsense driven by negativity. They don't care if he makes mistakes. And he's talking about his supporters. But let me tell you guys about a dialogue. There's a lady called Kellyanne Conway. Those Connie and Kellys are mixing me up. And this lady was supporting a candidate called Ted Cruz. And once Cruz was out of the race, Trump recruited her. And sometime just before an interview, Donald Trump says, I am the most watched man in America, and I'll attend, and I have more views than this lady called Hillary Clinton. And Kellyanne asks him, do you really want that? I says, of course, absolutely. And here's a dialogue. And
she says,
and Conway tells Trump, all the press is not good when you're running for the president of the United States. And Trump is unpersuaded, right? But then if you insist, and Conway replies, you will destroy my strategy. My strategy is this. This has to be a referendum on Hillary Clinton, not you. And you know what Hillary Clinton was going through during this time? You remember the email leaks?
You have Benghazi happening, you have the email leaks.
Now the idea is, if you're going to remove Donald Trump away from the media, okay, you are going to create a poll of this person called Hillary Clinton, right? And Americans would be deciding how good are we having if someone can leak an email from a personal email and not that of government. How good is she to run the United
country?
States? But then there's a concept he comes up with, and it's called Trump calls the refs, and the refs in this case is the media. Now Trump applies a strategy we call here bite and what's it called?
Bite and blow.
Bite
that
and
rats
blow.
use.
Rats use. You know, they bite your
Did you
toes.
say we? Oh, okay.
Yes, even you, I learned it from you. No, it's blow and bite. You know, when a rat bites your toes, it blows and bites. Now, what this means is this: Donald Trump would go to political pundits that have attacked him badly, and he would go and say, "Oh, you have treated me unfairly, or you're mistreating me." But then 15 minutes later, he would hold their hand, their shoulder like
and
this,
say, "Let's be friends.
Let's be friends, or let's go to church. I mean, let's go for lunch." And he kept doing this to this, especially this Katz guy, because he used to work for CNBC. He did this with all political pundits until some point they started having a favorable tone towards him, right? But the most beautiful thing this man called Trump did, he retreated himself away from mainstream media, from CNN to what you call Bloomberg, to BuzzFeed, to CNBC,
all of them.
And he only maintained one network, and that was Fox, right? But that is because they wanted the other candidate to be judged by Trump's primary constituency.
And I think the most interesting thing we can learn when we look at Trump versus Obama is how Obama became this darling, like really lifted up by the media. And then you look at Trump, and the media thought that by giving him all this excessive airtime, they would be suppressing him and saying, look at what he said about the Mexicans, look what he said about the wall. And it would have the opposite effect. And it ended up messing up the media, where now they've lost objectivity. Now nobody trusts them.
The truth is blurred. Nobody knows what anybody is.
And Trump is still president, and I think will continue to be until the next 4 years.
He'll probably be re-elected.
Yep, most probably.
Yes, and I think I should watch a Netflix documentary called Get Me Roger Stone. And you know, he was the person who was really like behind putting it out there. Why are we afraid to say make America great again? Why are we afraid to say build the wall? He was not afraid of disinformation, and he was not afraid of being brutal and being bad.
Absolutely.
Right?
But before I forget, there's a man called Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort was the chairman of Team Trump. The guys were supporting him, his team, his election team. Do you know that this man was a chief lobbyist for Daniel Arap Moi in the 90s, when the US had put sanctions in Kenya.
Okay, so he was there fighting on behalf of Moi.
He was there. He was in Washington fighting on behalf of Daniel Arap Moi.
Interesting. The lines are blurred every day.
Absolutely.
So on a day where we had a winning headline from the Star and a winning cartoon from the Daily Nation, I want to say this: Trump, for better or worse, is selling his version of reality. The media may not recover their reputation, because they have become convinced that they should, you know, their solemn duty is to show everyone how bad Trump is. But you know what? Trump will have his reputation and he will be fine.
Absolutely.
So you're better off just, you know, hold your ground. But have a good evening. I urge you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to look for us on TV. We're on Pang Free Go TV and Star Times. Have a good evening.
Bless.